remember that, to set the scene, the Trojans have just left after being included within the walls of Troy for 10 years. They've just gone out the gates to see that the beaches and the fields are deserted. They find the wooden horse, which is supposedly an offering to Minerva, and they are of two minds about what to do with it. Some think that the horse should be burned or tossed into the sea. Others favor bringing it into the city and given some sort of position of honor there by the citadel. And as they're debating this, you have this guy Laucaun, a priest of Neptune, who comes out and tries to dissuade them from bringing it into the city. All right, and this is one of the most famous of the speeches in the Aeneid. So, Laucaun primus, first, ibi there ante omnes. Notice he's before all. And he's described as magna comitante caterva. Note this ablative absolute phrase with adjectives and with the adjective and noun separated. In both of these phrases here, as well as summa decurret ab arche, I wanted you to note, even though you've already seen this before, I wanted you to take careful note of the way that adjectives and nouns are typically separated in Latin poetry for various effects. All right. So Laucaun's described as ardens. He decurit summa ab arche, from the highest point of the citadel, or from the highest citadel, either way you want to take it. And procul, from afar, he says, O misere cives. Note that these two go together. O misere cives, quae tanti insania. What madness so great. And then here with creditis, you might remember that credo, credere is a verb of belief, and thus it will take an accusative infinitive construction, but the infinitive portion of this perfect passive infinitive in auectos is not expressed. You would ordinarily have auectos esse for full expression of it. So do you believe that the hostes are auectos, or do you think ulla dona dana Note that these all go together, dona dana and ulla. Any gifts dana of the danaans, and note that that is one of your shortened genitive plurals. So do you think that ulla dona dana carere dodis? Remember that carere is a verb which takes an ablative of the thing which it lacks, almost as though the ablative has to be the direct object. And then he asks, sic notus ulixes? This is one of the most famous of the lines in the Aeneid, in particular of this speech. And this is repeated in an amusing scene by Petronius in his Satyricon. Anyway, so then Laucaun gives them a set of alternatives with out and out. And he says, out either inclusi hoc ligno occultantur acivi. So Achaeans, this is another one of the many words for the Greeks. Either inclusi, and what you don't have is something like in hoc ligno, though perhaps the notion is by hoc ligno, by this wood. And note that the wood is used more generally for the horse itself. But note, one of the effects of Latin poetry is that Virgil has effectively been able to enclose the Achaeans themselves, the adjective describing them, in hoc ligno, in the phrase describing the wood. All right, this is the kind of thing that the Romans really appreciated. So either enclosed in this wood, occultantur acivi, the Achaeans are hidden, or haec in nostros fabricata est machina muros. Notice that nostros and muros go together, and then here the sense of in is against. All right, and then inspectura here is a future participle modifying machina. So the future participle here has the force of purpose, right? Not simply about to inspect, but for the purpose of inspecting or looking upon our domos, and then again, sort of a sense of purpose, when turaque de super urbi, and to come upon from above the city, right? Aut aliquis latet error, or some other error latet, right? And then he tells them, equo ne credite. Remember that right up here when you had creditis, credere with accusative infinitive or even a simple direct object is to believe that something, but to put your trust in something is credere with the dative, all right? So don't put your trust in the horse, teocri. And then he says, quid id est timeo. Notice first person singular, present active adjective. So timeo, I fear the Danaos et dona ferentes. Watch out and don't take that simply as and. This is et used as even. So I fear the Greeks, even bearing gifts.